Okay. We tried this before, but yeah, customer came in the shop. Sorry for the street noise. If we're right by a very busy intersection here, so it does seem to pick up my voice all right. And these are kind of all these live ones, as far as I'm concerned, are bonus. I'm going to keep doing the thing I've always been doing, which is to show the sped up entire painting process in concise 15-minute videos. So don't worry, but I can see that this is where things are going in the world. Just sharing knowledge, sharing your experience, sharing what's going on in your life, especially work life. I mean, you probably don't care about me sitting around watching Netflix. Wouldn't that be funny to record that? It's a show of me watching a show. They probably have that. Actually, I know they do have that. It's called Game of Thrones. Yeah, but yeah. Anyway, so what are we going to do today? So I have these boards I pressed a long time ago, even before I was getting into the texture, and they're perfectly good. I mean, I could paint on them. I kind of rediscovered them when I was moving out of my old studio. And these ones have my old texture on them and old color. These are nice. I might just leave those alone. Anyway, what is this? Pine. If I sit down here. Okay. Yeah, you can see that. I'm going to try and not move this green thing so that it helps me keep the screen lined up. So, we can zoom into just wanted to kind of get a sense of where you were at here. You see that? Let's drop a little bit. So, this is not my phone I'm recording on. It's a little Panasonic, well, they don't even have a name for it, do they? We'll go down a little bit. Okay, sorry, it's like a bit of an angle, but yeah, and if I zoom out, that way you don't miss any action. So, yeah, I like this color. This is actually still something I would use for landscape painting. But anyway, I'm going to repurpose these boards. And what this is pine, actually. It's not bad to paint on. It has one major downside, and that it is kind of soft. So you could gouge into that with your fingernail if you wanted. Well, you could with almost anything, to be honest. It's just a matter of how much pressure is being applied. So, oh, there's another one. Yeah, now in the old days, I arrived at this texture kind of with the smacking process. And it's nice. I might use those for something. Also, you might notice that I have two different... This is also pine, but you can see that sure split up when they cut that. Here, I'm going to be using these flip sides. The pine is just, you can get it at your local ply guy. Yeah. Anyway, I don't like this color, but I got these boards. But you notice that I have horizontal and vertical textures. Well, the reason for that is that horizontal texture works much better for horizontal landscape, and vertical works much better for vertical. Almost all these are horizontal. Alright. Well, that won't matter so much, because even in some of this figurative stuff I'm doing, figurative stuff's not as critical. It won't be that big a detraction if I have green going this way. He says to himself. We'll see. So anyway, we're going to prep one way or the other. I might just do landscapes. And what I want to do is I want to get some boards that are toned more like this. And also I want almost no texture. This is completely smooth. I put up a demo real recently of a board I did on this texture. And it's just things going roundabouts. Like, I got very deep into the texture for about a year and a half, and I'm just maybe headed a different. Well, I don't even have to formulate it. It's like I'm going in a different direction. I just kind of do what I feel like doing. Anyway, let's get busy. Now, in here is my previous mix. Let's show you. We're going to need a bigger knife too. I'm going to do this in a jar because we got quite a few to do, but you can do this on a, yeah, you can build this on this kind of thing. So what is this? Hey, it's acrylic. I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you how to do this. There's quite a few secrets I'm going to lay on you right now. Yeah. Are you ready? Are you even paying attention? Maybe you are. I guess it depends on me and how long I make this video, because if you see that it's an hour, you're going to go, I got a freaking hour. Anyway, yeah, what's going to happen? I love that color. So, nice old palette knife, eh? So I'm basically just using the same jar. What we're gonna, big secret numero uno, you've been looking at the whole time. Liquitex clear gesso, not white gesso. You know the problem with white gesso is that it's white. And so anytime you want to make a tint or a color, you get a pastel. And I know a lot of you maybe already figured this one out, but I don't know. I haven't heard anyone lay it on this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shake this up. This clear gesso is great, and it has a slight tooth to it, which I'm going to sand out. I'm making quite a lot, so can you see that? I just poured that in there. Now this is some cheap bang. It's garbage. I'm not going to buy this crap anymore. Sorry. I have some of this, but you know, the Atelier instead of no-name brand. Anyway, sorry to dish you, Reno Art. I'm sure you guys work hard, but I'm gonna get rid of it. So the problem, why is when, you know, maybe you're just starting out, you don't know this, but why is, you know, this a $4 tube and that was a $20 tube, but it says the same color? What are you paying for? Well, you're paying for nothing. With this, you're just getting a little bit of pigment and a lot of filler. With the Atelier, you're getting a lot more pigment. So we're not going to use that knife for mixing. We're going to use, look, chopsticks. Here's another great tip. Go get your sushi, get some chopsticks. So I don't have burn umber in acrylic. I've always, up till just this year, I've been mixing my burn umber myself with burnt sienna and raw umber. It makes the same color. But there are subtleties to the actual pigment of burnt umber that you would never discover if you were doing that. And that's what I discovered, and that's why, hey, trust me, you're not the only ones tired of hearing about burnt umber. My student, I only have really one full-time student, she's tired of hearing about burnt umber. I'm waxing poetic about burnt umber, and then I start really getting into and talking about yellow ochre. Unfortunately, I don't think I have any yellow ochre. I hope I bought a tube of yellow ochre. That would have been smart. Yes, I did. So I want to give this a good orange squiz. In fact, here's a board I prepped. This is a fun color to paint on as well. That's just yellow ochre. And I got a little project going with see, that's all painted on yellow ochre. I don't want to give too much away there too quick because we're working on that. But just, you know, saying that's fun. Anyway, this will have way bigger pigment load, so we don't need a lot of it. We don't need a lot of it anyway, because there's going to be a certain wood color. Since this is transparent and we're basically tinting it, there's going to be a lot of wood color coming through. But I just can't seem to use all this up. So you can see I put in a ton of that red, but it doesn't seem very red, does it? That's pretty. I like that. Pretty close. I don't need to match anyway. You'll notice when you do this, you'll get big variations. Now this is acrylic, so actually I could go over that. I will. I just don't like this intense red anymore as much for my painting. It was great for the gazillion years I did it, but a little coffee. So what are we going to do now? We mix our paint. Yeah, and maybe I'll break this up into separate videos. Part 1, part 2, part 3. Huh, you might like that better because, yeah, we'll make that mixing your gesso. And I'll be back. And we're back. Yeah, I think I'm going to break this up into parts because that way, you know, if you've got a spare 50 minutes here or there. Yeah. So anyway, I like Liquitex, good brand. Liquitex, you can advertise on my channel. Why not? You should be advertising my channel instead of Toyota. You know, we buy a car that lasts us 10 years. Come on, guys. We buy. Look, I'm getting kind of low. I'm starting to worry. Anyway, Atelier, great paint. Love it. Here's a little bottle. Yeah, forgot I had that. Could use that today. Anyway, we'll throw that in there. Pretty happy with that color, but what we have to do is actually, let's slam a little on here. So I'm always telling my students there's nothing like pulling things out of the abstract, seeing what reality is. So this is wet, it's going to raise that grain, but that's okay. We're going to sand it down and stuff. Yeah, and it has been treated on the other side, so that should help with the warping. Now let's get busy here. Ooh, okay, here's my roller. I like these now. I like this. Get this out of my way. Okay, get out of our way. Get out of our way. Clean up our tools. Okay, you want me to zoom in a little? Let me take this to the table. That'll help keep me straight. As I notice, I'm learning at this live thing. I like to. That's one thing. You look at the last 4 or 5 years of videos, you'll see that I like to always present a very, you know, specific product with my videos. But I'm over it. I'm just going to share what I do as I do it, and who knows, I might do the skins a different color, a different way. I'm always changing things up. So let's grab some, eh? Let's put it there. You can see it. I'll zoom out a little. Zoom out. There we go. How much? I don't know. We have quite a lot here. So that's made a nice thing. You notice that you can clean, instead of cleaning your knife off on a paper towel, you could put a lot of it on that board there. Save some money. Anyway, we're going to roll here. Now, of course, you first put your roller in. It's going to absorb quite a lot. Now, you get very different effects with how much of this. Like, you could really grind this in and get it super thin, and it's going to tint. You could have a bit of a texture here if you like. I don't like too much texture, so the more you go over it, and then of course if you say want that even smoother, the thing to do is get that extra paint out. And then go over it some more, see? This will get to a point where it's like, and we're going to do multiple coats, but that is pretty much done. Yeah. Okay, so now if this was strictly instructional, this is slice of life too, man. Here we are in the studio. Life is great. Beautiful day, but you know what the thing is with like where I live here in New Zealand, it's kind of an island, so you'll have one weather in the morning and another. There's like always clouds coming over. It's maybe not as bad as like Hawaii. Now when you get problems like chunks, you want to get them off now and then fix them now. So it's, with the smooth surface, it's important to sand. It's important to get things like chunks out. It's important to, probably important to have both sides done. It's important to make sure. Look at all this crap. That won't matter though. You know what? Let more and more. You know, it's a real life painting in this digital world. It's okay. The imperfections are okay. What you painted isn't completely perfect and stellar. It's okay because it's all an expression of you as a human being. I'm not into wasting stuff. You notice that? Alright, so let's get some more. Better here than on the board, I think. Because the thing is, like, this is going to raise that grain. It's totally going to raise the grain. And this is the same technique, by the way, I use for these. The red. But you're going to see, you think, oh, well, that's just the color it is. But what's happening here is a ton of that wood color coming through, and it'll be a completely different color. Yeah, I don't love these little grains on the edge, but let's face it, it needs to go in a frame anyway, so it's all good. Watch what happens now. It's gonna be not red anymore, but it's not gonna be, see, that's quite transparent, this stuff we're doing here. Now you can get it a lot less transparent by just adding more acrylic paint. And by the way, for you newbies, you know, I don't want to assume you know this. You can put oil over acrylic, but you cannot put acrylic over oil. So, like this has been oil primed here on this side. Bad news. Don't do it. Like I could paint acrylic over that right now, and it might seem stable, but over time, what will happen is the acrylic will delaminate off of the oil, whereas the oil is a far less greater chance. Oh, I hear that coffee pot going. Let's turn that off. Far less greater chance. So you notice, like here, I can bear down, get some of that extra off, and then go back here. Get a finer texture, and that's really what I'm liking right now. Now there is some texture on these boards already. That's pretty interesting color, actually. I quite like that. I like it better than just the red now. I mean, that doesn't suit where my head's at these days too well. It's perfect for its time. I love the vibrant. I love the zappy, zingy effect you get painting on this color. Definitely try it if you haven't. That's burnt sienna. What we're doing now is kind of a number base. Burn number. It's been pushed with the yellow though, so honestly, with that limited palette I've been kind of into these days is the yellow ochre and the burn umber, both of which are earth colors. I'm fascinated by that. That's so like, that's old tech, man. That's like people digging up dirt and adding something and making paint. Even oil paint itself. I mean, they had some forms of oil paint around throughout history. Speaking of, well, this is not really paint. It looks like paint. Technically, I guess it is paint. We call it gesso. Oh, so what's the other reason we're doing this? Well, for an oil painting, you know what? Sometimes I recommend you just do a little quick doodle or something, and your oils right directly on the wood, and you go, wow, this is neat. It is. It feels neat. The problem with that, painting directly on raw wood, is that over time, it'll get absorbed. It'll get absorbed into the painting will just disappear into the wood. So we need a buffer. We need a barrier. Now in the old days, they used gesso had a lot of chalk in it, marble dust, things like that. So, like this was our sort of reference board. This has two coats. You're going to see these boards we're doing now. They're going to take on a much darker tone with that second coat. Like it's going to be still a little bit transparent. But frankly, I kind of like the fact that these will be working on the backs of something. This is supposed to be a back of a painting. So these little marks and stuff. Yeah, it's cool. It's interesting. And I'm getting even more an appreciation for things like that. Here we're in this antique shop, man. The patina of age things have happened to it. You know, it's moved through time, where in a lot of cases people didn't make it. That's just in the wood. We'll sand on that a little bit. We're gonna have to sand this pretty good, because this is gonna raise the grain, and that's because it's water based. But I did try recently some non-water based priming methods, and it's a nightmare to clean up. It's not worth it. We're just gonna sand it down, and then since we already introduced the water one time, it won't be that big a deal. Yeah. So why am I boring you? Hopefully, no, I'll give you some good information. But you know, I could just show you this one time. But why am I doing a whole stack of these? Well, this is the thing. This is the kind of thing you put off, and this is the kind of thing. Wow, giant tips if you had some patience. Right? So, say you want to paint. Like I've been wanting to do. I got a frame in, but recently, and I'm thinking, wow, yeah, I'd like to just pop a painting in that. But little problem. All of my paintings are 5x7, and this frame is actually like 5 3/4 by 6 3/4, and I don't like chopping up my existing paintings to fit in the frames. What I don't mind doing is saying, oh, I'll just do a targeted painting specifically for that frame. Okay, so that sounds good. Okay, but I did a snag, like I don't have a board prepped. I don't even have a board prep to cut down, which reminds me. This, for instance, I'm giving you is real. I'm going to cut that down, but I'm going to go ahead and prime it today. I don't have a good saw here. I need to do that. I need to get me a little saw. That's a good idea, by the way, for you. You know, you find the frame and make a painting for it. Good idea. Tips. I'm helping you out, providing value. Pardon me. Yeah, this color mix has a bit of a yellowish quality. I'm not intoxicated. I was just slurring, slurring from the sneeze. Don't worry about it. It has a bit of yellowish quality, but I'm into that. I'm just going with where I feel. That's another thing I would recommend. It's like I am not a member of the Gary V Nation, but I think he's got a lot of good advice. Yep, I'm here. Hey, how you doing? What can I do for you?
I was wondering if he's only in my shit.
Well, I'm a different guy than the guy you talked to. That's
so
Hamish.
what's happening there? I know. Where's Hamish?
He's down in Auckland.
Filling?
Yeah, he's doing some work down there. Yeah, my name's Mike. Yeah.
I'm Bertie.
Hey, Bertie. You selling some stuff?
Oh, I got some stuff. I have that boat down there on the seashells.
Yeah, a lot of people look at it.
And all those masks changed the wall.
Yeah.
So those are all mine.
Awesome.
Really? I want them gone.
You want them gone? Are they because they're reminding you or what?
They're mine. I want you to sell them.
All right, yeah, we got some people here, but they're gonna keep going. Wow, look, I've been going about 10, 15 minutes here, so it's still red. See how transparent that is? Amazing. To be honest, sorry to say be honest, because you know what? I could get that for my wife. We could make some changes in this right now. Gonna bring in some opacity there. Oh, what is he doing? I don't know what I'm doing. Okay. I don't mind if it's going to be underneath the landscape. So. Oh, good. Just, you know what? I use ochre for its opacity. See, it all works out. You guys are always freaking out. You're always worrying too much. That's prettier now. At least it's not so red. Here's that other one. Looks like I did nothing to it, right? Yeah. This way I can use these boards. I got some stuff I want to paint. Not so much I want to do. I'm sure all of us are getting fractured, distracted, social media. Heck, the new iPhone 11's coming out. That looks pretty interesting. Too bad I don't really like Apple. I'm looking at that new Galaxy Note. That's nice. Don't really think I can afford it right now. Hey, actually, if you bought a painting, I could. So go ahead. Go to my store. I'm putting good stuff up. And lots of it all the time. So again, if you're just joining us, apologize for that noise. I can't do anything about it. It's cars. People going places, doing things. You know what? People think I'm talking to myself. They don't know I'm talking to you. Anywhere from 78 to 200 people. Nope, they don't. Anyway, yeah, so we're on this. Now I could have mixed all that on my palette, but the thing is I want to stick with my transparent thing for the rest of the stack here, so. People coming in, people moving out. Oh, I could get that backward. People moving out, people moving in. I could sing the rest, but probably get a copyright strike. So. Hey, how you doing?
G'day, boss.
This board will be a little different tint. It's okay. Actually, I'm standing now. This goes a lot better. Oh, so that's what I was saying. You want to have. I'm always telling you, hey man, you got to paint all the time, right? Having a bunch of boards sitting there ready to go. That's why when you do this, don't just do one or two and say, oh yeah, I'm doing my yearly painting. Do 20, 30, 100. I've done 100 before. I got a stack there that's looking at me saying, hey, here we are. Although, this was a stack that was ready, but never. What happened there was I got into the texture thing and didn't want to work on that color smooth. So, all right, we're back. I may have lost you anyway. But we gotta finish up these 3 more. That was probably a mistake. It's gonna be chunks. It's alright though, because we're going to sand these and that grain's going to raise too, so the reality is the chunks ain't such a big deal. Yeah, you can see that wasn't wise. Yeah, so The chunks come from the dry bits. You're better off just getting rid of those. You can scrape them off. I got two more, so now you can put the lid on this. It keeps for a long time in the jar, so and you can just add to it. Yeah, okay, we're back. We've sanded everything. By the way, okay, so this is masonite, or MDF they call it out here. Actually, masonite probably is different. There's two different types. There's the masonite and the MDF actually, and the masonite board is much denser and more brittle and less soft. It's more of a hard board. You can use that for flooring, where this MDF is like a compressed cardboard. But what I would say to anyone new starting out is, like, make sure you're painting. What you paint on is not as critical, especially if it gets hung up on the wall. Where things become a real problem is things are stored properly and they're not on walls. Anyway, you can paint on this, you can paint on pine, you can paint on canvas if you want. I find canvas to be sort of not that desirable but maybe small paintings. I could definitely see it for larger work because it's lightweight. Something like this, when you're talking about a 24-36 or 30-40, it starts getting pretty weighty. Yeah, that'll become a framing problem. Alright, so we'll see if we get interrupted. If we do, it's all good. I haven't cleaned my brush yet. Still got some in it. We have probably enough left in here to do the job. Just going to pour some out. Yep. And I probably will just do a bit and turn it off so you don't get too bored. But second coat, I mean, pretty much like the first coat, eh? Except same deal. Now you're seeing the true color though. And there's still some transparency. That's one thing I like about this transparent clear gesso is it's pretty magical because you still will see some of that wood tone. It's almost like you could have got some wood this color. I like this color. So this is like a very light shade of umber, burnt umber. Got the red overtones. It could be more red. Nice. And you see I go finer and finer. And so I'll just have to do the lightest of sandings on that when we're done. Alright, this is too dense for me, so see? You don't want to see, the more you have to sand to get things smooth. Basically, the more of the stuff you're throwing away, right? Okay. You can see these are going to be a very nice surface to paint on, very smooth. And I don't really know how much more I need to show you on this. I guess what I would say is, like you might, instead of doing a bunch one size, you could do a variety of different sizes. I've done that. You can also, instead of just all one tint, you could do a variety of different tints. You could have some that were darker or lighter, or like I'll paint on anything but white. I don't like to have to worry about little bits of the. See, this is another thing, that there's too much moisture in my brush, so to get the finish I want here, I got to get some of that out. And you'll see when I come back here, I can get a much nicer result. You do want to watch out for thick patches on the board. You want it very even, very consistent, at least for this sort of approach. I mean, now, I don't like painting on that paint roller texture. In fact, when I was painting with a texture, I was using a side of a brush. I preferred that to the the sort of auto roller texture. Although it wouldn't be bad maybe for some. It's not for me. So the nice thing about the second coat, you know, we've already covered it once, so you could do a third coat, or I usually do two. I figure that's enough to ensure that the painting has got some sort of buffer between the oil paint and the wood itself. You know, just building a nice, you know, one of the great reasons to use oil paint is because it lasts a long time. You know, it has stood the test of time. So you don't want other things biting on the butt. Like, one of the reasons I don't like the canvas loose or anyways is that material will expand and contract over time, and that's what causes 90% of the cracking in your painting. Now, you can get cracks on paintings that are painted on board, but they're a whole different kind of crack, and a whole less, it's a much finer crack that you might say get from painting something thin and wet over something very thick, because that thick thing is going to dry at a different sort of, you know, it's actually take a lot longer to dry than the thin. That can cause cracking, foxing, or, well, foxing would be a paper thing, but you know what I mean, crazing. I think it's called crazing. And you see this had a few chips where the saw, this wasn't the best side of the board, but it doesn't matter too much. What I did is I powered down with the sandpaper block on there, just kind of rounded off. There's still a few chips missing, but it don't matter. It's all good. It's interesting to look at the edges of paintings anyway. Yeah, they all tell a story. Which, since, you know, you're sitting here with me, I can say, you know, one of the reasons why I switched from doing digital work to actual paintings is that paintings are artifacts that are going to last a lot longer than anything in the digital realm, right? Although, you know, we could have a digital future spreading thousands of years, but another thing about the digital realm is that everything in the digital realm replicates, copies, duplicates, and everything is quite temporary and ephemeral, you know, whereas a painting is the opposite. Hello, how you doing? Alright, so I'll finish this up and we'll pause. Yep. Okay. Yeah, I didn't want to bore you with all that, and you know, got busy doing other things too, but here we are. Yeah, we're done. We're done. Just want to say a few things. First of all, if you clean this real well, it'll last a long time. These things are brilliant. Don't go with the fluffy one, go with the spongy, fine one. Okay? Again, people may think I'm mad talking to myself. Clean everything up. Clean all your stuff up. I wipe that off. These last a while. Anyway, so you might say, well, gee, Mike, how long do... I'll put this on. Oh, no. Mike, how long do I have to wait before I'm done? I could paint on it. You could paint on it right now if you wanted. Generally, though, I'll wait till the next day, just because I think it's a good idea. So we're done, but we do a very final, much lighter sand, to be honest. You could paint on that texture if you wanted. If you want a little tooth, I don't want it. I don't like things like that. I like textures and art. I mean, that's kind of got a random quality. You could paint on it, not for me. So much lighter, and I always test with my hand. So you can see that grain. It's there. So. This one was the vertical one. I'm pressing half as hard. And I always test my hand for rough patches. You don't want to leave those because if someone has it hanging on their wall they'll walk by, they'll see like that patch. That thing that will bother me, but you know, some people maybe know. So, you know, that's it. Basically, we're done. There's a little bit of a haze there. That'll wipe right off. That's just fair, whatever. That's our color. No, we see. Now you could opt for I would definitely wait another day if you were going to do this, but you could opt to do a coating of oil paint like I've done in the past as well. It's all up to you. The nice thing about the oil paint is that you can wipe it off, you know, or whatever. For some reason, that's just on the dark burn umber boards. I just had to go to oil paint. I didn't like the quality of the dark matte coming through, but it doesn't seem to bother me on this tone, so I'm not going to worry about going over these oil. These are going to be ready for me to do paintings on. Well, what you see now, this was that yellow one I flashed you, and I thought I'd tone it down a little. It's such a bright yellow, because you could use this dimension for a figure. I have one. Unfortunately, so I'm waiting to get photographed. Interestingly, on the MDF, you will see little bits of the hairs and stuff. In spite of everything this has gone through, with that transparent gesso, it's still showing me little things from the board itself, and you'll see that as well. This is after two coats of that gesso. You can really see it's quite rough. That bit of roughness goes away super easy though. I mean, the lightest bit of sanding. I don't mind leaving a little bit of that texture. I don't want to paint on glass. For me, this is smooth. Yeah, is there anything else? I think that might be it. I think we're done here. Yeah, so that's how I get my smooth board, and I'll label this texturizing, and this is, you know, been live session number 3. Now, geez, if you went with me this far, you must love all the info. So, my website, landscapepainter.co.nz, there's a blog there that goes on and on with videos. A store there with lovely paintings that I sell direct to people that like to buy paintings. If that's you, check it out. And yeah, anyway, we're done. Till I'm back with another video. Please take good care. Stay out of trouble. See you later. See you probably tomorrow. Yeah, we'll see. Let's hope.